Joining me now with more on advancing President Trump's agenda in Congress is Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. Great to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much, Senator, for being here. And the truth is, if America continues to spend the way that it does, we are on a collision course, and President Trump is trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Many people were happy to see the Senate adopt the budget resolution, and now, of course, it's up to the House to fill in those details. But it wasn't just raising the debt ceiling. It wasn't just making the 2017 tax cuts permanent. There was border protection in there. There was defense in there. And there also is some savings, about $4 billion, that the Senate committees have to find. Will they be able to do that?
Yeah, they'll be able to find it, but it's all in the details at the end of the day. But, Jackie, we had to get this passed. The budget resolution, we had to do the tax cuts. We had to get it on the table. We've really drug our feet, to be honest with you, but it's been because the House and the Senate, we're all kind of guilty of this, but we've got to get this done. We need to get it done as soon as possible. $5 trillion worth of tax cuts. 1.5 trillion new tax cuts after the Jobs Act of President Trump's being permanently redone. So it was a good night. You know, the Democrats keep fighting us right and left. Their only complaint that they have, which is totally wrong, saying we're going to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. They couldn't be any farther from the truth. We're not going to do that. We're going to reform it. That's what has to be done, but we've got to do these tax cuts. We got to get them done quick because this will help out with the tariffs.
Yeah, and just on the Medicare and Medicaid point, I'm glad that you brought that up because that is the narrative from the Democrats, and they essentially are saying that you're going to blow up the whole system. It's not going to be there for people. That is not what's happening here. What's happening here is DOJ went in and found where there is waste and fraud, and we are going to make sure that taxpayers are not paying for that. I can't see who wouldn't support that, who is basically going to stand there and say, let's throw millions of dollars out the window.
Well, this is the first time the Democrats have been exactly right, Jackie. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid is going to blow up and it's going to go broke if we continue down the path of what the Democrats want.
Yeah.
We have to reform it. We have to reform it, get everybody out that's not supposed to be in it. We're leaking oil really fast. Money's going out the door. DOJ has done a great job of this. It has to be exposed. People have to understand what's going on here. We run a huge business, and this business right now is not going by the rules. I mean, it is absolutely just giving money away, but it's all done by the Democrats. The Democrats want to have voters. They could care less about anything about really protecting our country from going into debt more and more. They would, if we go by their rules, we'll end up $50 trillion in debt here in 3 or 4 years. It'll be an absolute disaster. We can't do it, and President Trump knows it, and he's going to get it all straight.
We're going to have more with you in moments, but I just want to ask you one last question because there is a little pushback within the Senate. Tim Kaine introducing that bill to undo the tariffs on Canada. It did pass, but there's an inability to force that into law. It was Senators McConnell, Collins, Murkowski, and Rand Paul voting with the Democrats. Is this a problem for your party that there is not sort of, you know, the ability to stick together on certain issues?
Well, we all have different opinions, and everybody looks at it a different way. Those four have been up here for quite a while. Jackie, we have to change the game plan. We cannot continue down this path, and tariffs is one of the main ones. We have to get manufacturing back in this country, and we have to stop China. We're funding China's military, and we're going to end up having to fight them if we continue to do that. But at the end of the day, we're all going to be on the same page. We're backing President Trump. It is going to work. There's going to be some short-term pain, but at the end of the day, this will be something that's really going to save the American taxpayers and our country.
All right, and we're going to dig into those tariffs. We have more with Senator Tommy Tuberville in just a moment here on Sunday Morning Futures.
The Committee for a Responsible Budget says your plans will increase the debt by $7.5 trillion.
But they don't know.
The Wall Street Journal said that your plans will increase the debt and deficits more than Kamala Harris's.
If I do this, you're going to have car companies coming back to the country because of the taxes and the tariffs. The tariffs will protect them when they come in, so they will protect from other companies coming in, because if the other companies don't come in, they're going to have to pay massive tariffs, and that's it.
But what about the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers?
No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow.
No. All I'm doing is saying, I'll put 200 or 500, I don't care. I'll put a number where they can't sell one car into the United States. I don't want them to sell their car because I don't want them hurting our car companies. And remember, we have the real market. We have the golden market. We have the money. But if we keep running like we are for the last 3 or 4 years, we're going to lose all of that. We're going to also lose the sanctity of the dollar. People aren't going to rely on the dollar. And they're going to do that. They're going to all come back. And if they don't rely on the dollar, then I'm not going to let them sell into the United States.
That's President Trump speaking with Maria in an exclusive interview just weeks before the election, pledging to implement tariffs to create and save American manufacturing jobs. And we are back with Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. Great to be back with you. And obviously, the first phase of the tariff plan is now in motion. Certainly, this is triggering uncertainty and some fear in the marketplace, but also globally and with consumers. Are you confident that the president's overall plan will protect consumers at the end of the day?
100%. You know, we're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain. There's a lot of people that are a little skeptical, but we have to change course. We cannot continue to do the same thing. It's like playing football. If you keep running the ball up the middle and you're not getting any traction, you got to start throwing the ball. That's what President Trump's doing. He's a businessman. He's the first president that's really stood up and say enough of other countries ripping us off. Just in my state of Alabama, catfish farmers are going under because Vietnam is dumping billions of trash catfish and shrimp into our state, and they're going under. We are in huge trouble, and we have to change course. And we have 5 car manufacturers in our state. And they're really not concerned because it's going to help them sell more cars in this country. Eventually, these cars will go out of the country and will be bought by Europe, which buys hardly any of our cars made in this country.
And the president's opponents are painting a picture where tariffs will create some sort of massive inflation. It's possible prices may go up a little bit, but it's also possible companies will absorb the costs. Reports indicate that Walmart is already telling suppliers overseas, you need to take some of this tariff and not pass it on to the consumer. At the end of the day, if consumers stop buying, it's not good for companies either. When I think about where we are and how we got here, I think about the Biden administration and inflation over 9% as a result of reckless spending and money printing, loose monetary policy from the Fed. We're in we're looking at a different framework here for Trump's economic vision moving forward. And for those who say this is going to cause massive inflation, what do you say?
Well, first of all, President Trump's got a simple plan. Cut spending and get manufacturing back to our country. We have to do that. We're a service country right now. We have people that just work for other people. We don't have manufacturing. We are paying a fortune to China. We're building their country. We've got to do things that help United States for America. President Trump understands that if manufacturing doesn't come back, we're going to be in huge trouble. The Democrats could care less. They want manufacturing, farming, all this to go out of the country. But at the end of the day, what does it spell for us? We don't have national security. Look what happened in COVID. We don't make any drugs in this country, and we were dependent on China. We cannot allow that to happen. Thank God President Trump is using some common sense here and getting the American people and the United States back on track to being self-sufficient.
Speaking of China, the market is concerned, traders are concerned that the retaliation we saw on Friday could turn into a full-blown trade war. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, Wall Street's one of our biggest problems. They're the ones that's really standing up and pushing back against President Trump. Wall Street and the globalists, they do not want change. They want it to stay business as usual. We cannot stay business as usual in Washington, D.C., nor with President Trump, nor the American people. We have to change course, and we have to build a different team in this country. If we don't do that, it's the only chance we have of surviving like we had an opportunity the last 249 years.
Yeah.
So it's time the American people took care of our own business and not be dependent on anybody else.
A final question. The Senate was not able to advance a bill to restrict transgender students from playing on women's sports teams. This is coming in the wake of the controversy over the fencer who refused to compete against a transgender opponent. I wanted to get your take on this.
Well, it's the priority of the Democrats, the letter salad of LGBTQ groups. You can't let one of them down. And the Democrats know that transgender boys and women's sports is wrong, but they can't abandon them because the rest of their group would probably say, hey, if you're not going to stand with us, we're out of here for you Democrats. And so it's wrong. Everybody knows it's wrong. We're going to ruin women's sports. It's a disaster. This young girl in Maryland that on the fencing team that said, listen, I can't beat this guy. Why don't you give me a chance? That's exactly what's going to happen. Jackie, we have entire men's teams across this country now that are turning trans.
Yeah.
Women's teams, they're turning trans. And that's going to be a situation where it's going to pick up speed because these woke globalists are pushing these kids to say, if you can't compete in men's sports, let's just transition and say you're a woman and participate in women's sports. It is dead wrong, and we've got to stand up against it. But the Democrats, they're all in of keeping this situation going in the wrong direction.
Senator Tommy Tuberville, we so appreciate your time today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.